Hello, freak bitches.
When I was a teenager, my dad also had a car wash. I would go work in the summer sometimes, and I'd get so mad at the car wash. Like, I hated it. I'm like, bro, anybody can just fucking rinse the car off, put the soap. Like, there was next door, like across the street from the body shop. So after work, we would go hang out at the body shop with everybody. I would tell my uncle, because I don't know if my dad was going to take me serious or not. I'd be like, can you teach me how to paint? I was like, I don't want to work over there. I was like, don't even pay me if you don't want. Just teach me how to paint. Have me over here. Like, I want to sand the cars. I want to fucking do real shit, you know?
Yeah.
So he'd teach me every now and then.
Right. Because everyone's using their phone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no signal for you. You
Right.
can't get online. You can't make a phone call.
Right. Like, this thing only works if we're not all trying to do it at the same time.
Exactly.
But if we do, then we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And he goes, what I want. So we went to the show at the Opry, but then the next day I had to go train with Rich. But then he said, can you meet for lunch at the Soho House or whatever? And I said, yeah. So he's like, I want you to sign my book. He's like, or your book. He had my Endure book. And he's like, I used to think that I wanted records on the wall. He goes, but now I want a book signed by you. That's what I want. And he had like gloves from I think a fight. I can't remember whose gloves, like UFC gloves. But it's like that's what means something to him now.
Yeah.
Not the personal accolades.
Right.
But I just God, I can't talk enough positive about that guy.
He's such a warm soul. The first time I met him at the mothership.
But it's fucking dope, man. And my uncle's like, in my opinion, he's like a grandmaster painter. He's been painting for years. He learned. So my dad had a body shop when I was a kid, very small. Now, back in these days, my dad was involved in, less than legal business. So this body shop was a front, technically. You know what I mean? But, I mean, they got business and they got good. And my dad hired this painter named Alfred. May he rest in peace. Alfred, fucking badass painter, crazy old guy. He used to know how to break dance. This shit was badass. Alfred taught my uncle how to paint. My uncle Jose. And my uncle was young. My uncle was kind of like a knucklehead at one point. Involved in as a teenager, he was involved in fucking gang shit, some drug deals, whatever. But my uncle had a kid very young, and snapped out of it quick. Just wanted to be like a respectable man, just do the right thing.
So he just throws the guy down on the ground, points a gun at him, and he's standing on him. I don't know what the guy was doing. It seems like the guy was just obliterated drunk, and he thought the guy was trying to rob him. But I think the guy was just shit-faced, and he was looking for his keys or something. What was he doing? It says he was arrested. Oh, he hit a curb. Okay, so he was driving drunk. He stomped out a girl. Oh, my God. Oh, a security guard saw him stomp out a girl. You're going to get in a homemade submarine and die in the ocean.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, those dudes. That's exactly what that was like. That was $250,000 a ticket to get in that submarine and die.
Why? The submarine had no windows, right?
Well, it had little small windows. You don't really see. You're seeing things through a screen.
they call me old school, but I feel like if I spent $250,000 on the ticket, I want like a luxurious experience. I want to see the fucking ocean, not through a tiny little screen. I want communication with the outside world. Like, I don't know. I do want to get rich. Don't get me wrong. I do want to get rich because I feel like pretty soon, there,
What are you gonna buy? What kind of car are you gonna get?
I mean, I'm not too worried about all that. I really want to save money
you
to
like painting. Don't you want a dope
I want to
car?
go to the moon.
Oh, you're one of those dudes.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
We are, as a culture, being manipulated. Mm-hmm. We're being manipulated. And it's moving us further and further away from just sanity, just pure sanity.
It's the foundations of Western logic, right? It's they're trying to poison the roots of Western logic by completely rewriting what we would call the history of the world and the progression around physics and math, and you name the thing that's under assault. It's under assault today. And I think who benefits from that? You just have to look around and say, who benefits from that? Oh, our foes. That's who benefits from this.
The results in the ultra-processed DGA menu that was created, 91% of the kilocalories were from ultra-processed food or NOVA Category 4. The HEI 215 score was 86 out of a possible 100 points. The sample menu did not achieve a perfect score due primarily to excess sodium and an insufficient amount of whole grains. This menu provided adequate amounts of all macro and micronutrients except vitamin D, vitamin E, and choline. Conclusions. Healthy dietary patterns can include most of their energy from ultra-processed foods, still receive a high diet quality score, and contain adequate amounts of most macro and micronutrients. Boy.
Right. So remember, USDA, the guys that go there, they leave USDA and they go sit on the board of directors at Nabisco and PepsiCo. And so this is really, I think, what this is.
So I'm like, he has this jaw. So we're zooming in on the jaw, and he's like the staff is like comparing the pictures on their phones to the people in the crowd.
So crazy.
Everyone's looking for this dude. Then the server comes up and she goes, I have a guy in the back throwing up with his friend. He's throwing up in a trash can. I'm like, let me go look. So I take a peek in the back. I'm like, that's him. Immediately. And you know what's fucked up is that he looked a lot like this guy I know that works at Gas Digital for Lewis, who's blind. He looks like, they call him Gay Blind Mike at Gas Digital, and he looks a lot like him. So I thought I was being like gay racist.
You mean blind racist?
Huberman gets into all that, academia. There's tons of studies on this. So, and all, I think the main reason it's not adopted more often is they're just in the insurance model, right? They use the tool that's in their tool belt. And if that's not a tool in my tool belt, then I'm not going to talk about it, and I don't have time to do it. And that's where I see large language models and an evolving market allowing patients to get that education on their own. They don't have to wait to talk to a doctor, right? I will have a team of academics right there at your fingertips, proactively analyzing everything about you. And I would tell you, I talked about predictive, proactive, personalized, all that. Another one would be private. You do not want this data in the hands of insurance companies. Listen to what Gary Brecka was telling you. He worked for the big insurance companies. And then they never paid the 14 because they negotiated a rebate on the back end. And then they turn around and they mark up my insurance plan for all my employees every year, year after year. It is a profit-driven system, not a patient outcome-driven system. And so that's all I'm trying to hammer home with patients. When you say, why don't you take insurance? Because insurance is the crux of the problem. You cannot operate in that ecosystem and provide quality care. You can't. Everything's controlled. Everything's dictated. It's terrible.
And most people have no understanding or awareness of this. So there's no real push to fix this system. There's no real push to regulate and analyze all of these problems and what's the downstream effect of these problems.
Yeah, and I even hear clinicians talk. Huberman gets into all that, academia, there's tons of studies on this. So, I think the main reason it's not adopted more often is they're just in the insurance model, right? They use the tool that's in their tool belt. And if that's not a tool in my tool belt, then I'm not going to talk about it, and I don't have time to do it. And that's where I see large language models and an evolving market allowing patients to get that education on their own. They don't have to wait to talk to a doctor, right? I will have a team of academics right there at your fingertips, proactively analyzing everything about you. And I would tell you, I talked about predictive, proactive, personalized, all that. Another one would be private. Private. You do not want this data in the hands of insurance companies. Listen to what Gary Brecka was telling you. He worked for the big insurance companies.
And without saying anything to anyone, I just get up and I go outside. I just beeline it for the exit. And I'm like, and security, I can hear them trying to keep up with me. And I'm like kicking doors open. I'm fucking pissed now. Because now I'm like, he did it on fucking purpose. And he's a fan and he knows my name. And like, now it's a problem for me, you know? And then I don't even know if I should say the next part, but I found him outside.
Should you not say this part?
I found him outside.
She found him outside.
I found him outside. And then they were like, do you want to call the cops? I was like, no.
She took care of it herself.
Once you're out of that 90-day and you've done your little review and all that, you're off again and you're no longer a monetizable patient. And so, too, when we talk about primary cares and what's happened, the same thing with pharmacies where they've been gobbled up by insurance companies, if they're in the insurance model, is the same thing that happened with primary care practices. The day of a primary care being independent and a free thinker is over. They're employed by hospital systems. Major conglomerates have gone out and bought up the primary care practice. Why? Because now they have the patient population. If I can get you at the primary care level, then I can control the referral of where that primary care sends you as we profiteer off your disease state.
Like,
oh, yes.
Did you hear this story? Yeah. So he does that, but then when I turn around to see who does it, he acts like he's blind and disabled. So then immediately I'm like, kind of just like my adrenaline's pumping just from the set itself. And then that just happened. And then I see that it's a blind person. So I'm just like overwhelmed. And then people are trying to like say hi and, you know, whatever after my set. So I go to sit with Sarah and I go, Sarah, like some blind dude just like accidentally poked me in the vagina. And she goes, you got assaulted. Like, she goes,
I'm like,
up.
what the fuck are you talking about? A blind guy touched you in the pussy.
She brings me down to reality where I'm like, I have like a moment like That's So Raven where I go like,
If nobody ever has a conversation with me in my 30s about my hormone levels, about getting into the sun, about eating right, and you push me towards chronic disease because you wrote me a prescription to treat a symptom, and now I go through this system and I get cancer, that primary care is going to refer me to an oncologist, and that oncologist is part of that same system, right? And most people don't know this. 65% of an oncologist's income comes from chemotherapy, from the markup they're making off your chemotherapy. 65%. And I attached that link, Jamie, too, where it talks about this. So all I'm getting at is Russell Brand said this, and he was spot on. Another guy who's not a clinician but understood what's going on here.
Dude,
weird, right?
It's so weird because but can a serial killer exist today?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah, they exist.
No
there's
chance.
There's active serial killers. Yeah.
How?
Sure.
With all the stuff, like with the DNA and the videos and the cameras and the phones and the tracking.
Well, you have to have people looking for you, first of all, right?
Not afraid of anything और एक ऐसा decision लें जो आप otherwise नहीं ले रहे हैं because of structure, construct, government, all of that. वो एक चीज क्या होती है?
मैं बताता हूँ.
Start?
अब तक कितने पॉडकास्ट किए आपने?
25 सर.
25.
हाँ. बट हम महीने में एक रात करते हैं बस.
अच्छा.
हर महीने में एक दिन एक पॉडकास्ट और बाकी महीना कुछ नहीं करते.
लेकिन जिससे करना है उसको एक महीने तक समय दे करके उसको काफी कंफर्ट करते हैं.
करेक्ट. इन डेप्थ में करते हैं. ज्यादातर पॉडकास्ट जो हमने किया है इज अबाउट एंटरप्रेन्योर. What I wish, sir, is after this long conversation that we have had, कि ऐसे 10,000 young people कहीं से आए जो पॉलिटिक्स ज्वाइन करे, जिनकी मदद मैं जानता हूं आप करेंगे. आप इसके बारे में क्लोजिंग.
देखिए, आप जो कह रहे हैं वो कैंडिडेट बनने के क्वालिफिकेशन बोल रहे हैं.
हाँ, करेक्ट.
पॉलिटिशियन बनने के नहीं कह रहे हैं आप.
राइट.
पॉलिटिशियन बनने के लिए तो बहुत क्वालिफिकेशन चाहिए. आपको हर पल हजारों आंखें देखती हैं. आपका एक शब्द इधर उधर हो जाए तो आपकी 10 साल की तपस्या मिट्टी में मिल जाती है. आपको 24/7 कॉन्शियस रहना पड़ता है. आपको उसके साथ जीना पड़ता है. अनप्रेसिडेंटेड क्वालिटी चाहिए जी. और क्वालिफिकेशन वही है. और ये कोई यूनिवर्सिटी की सर्टिफिकेट
में भी सेम थिंग है. जो ज्यादा रिस्क ले सके ही डज बेटर. क्या सर आपकी लाइफ में आपकी रिस्क टेकिंग एबिलिटी टाइम के साथ बढ़ रही है?
मुझे लगता है मेरी जो रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी है उसका अभी फुल यूटिलाइजेशन हुआ ही नहीं है. बहुत कम हुआ है. मेरी बहुत रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी शायद अनेक गुना ज्यादा होगी. इसका कारण है कि मुझे परवाह ही नहीं है. मैंने अपने विषय में कभी सोचा ही नहीं है जी. और जो खुद के लिए नहीं सोचता है उसके पास रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी का कोई यानी बेहिसाब होती है. मेरा केस ऐसा है.
अगर आप आज के दिन
आज मैं ये नहीं हूं, कल ये नहीं रहूंगा तो मेरा क्या होगा?
Dude, I'm old now because I'm like watching 2020 and shit. I used to get so mad at my mom. I guess
is it on TV still?
Yeah, dude, it's on TV. They're in season 45.
At least.
Do you watch TV?
Oh, I watch like a little Netflix every now and then,
Yeah.
or HBO or something like that.
No, I love TV.
TV, like with commercials.
I want to watch a commercial.
You're so crazy.
I'm like a nostalgia guy, bro. I'm like,
really?
You remember there was a time whenever we could not fast forward the commercial?
I remember it all. I remember I got a TiVo.
Yes.
You remember TiVo?
Yes, I do.
And you could pause TV.
You could
I'm
pause
like,
TV?
This is crazy. You could pause your TV.
Mind blown.
And then they started implementing it into DirecTV. We could just pause the feed.
Pause it right
this
now.
Is incredible.
Go to the kitchen. Pause.
Incredible.
Come
I gotta
back.
take a leak. Pause.
Pause. Like unreal.
Yeah, you don't have to run back in. What happened?
I want to watch a commercial. And commercials work on me too. Like seriously, bro. I'm like the guy that like buys shit off a commercial.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I watch a whole bunch of shit. It's called like one is Nature is Metal.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I love
that's
that page.
That's a sick page, bro. Nature is Metal.
It's the craziest
It's
shit.
the craziest.
Nature is so metal.
It is, dude. Some of the shit you see on that page is nuts. But you'll see a bear, and it'll just walk around and it just fucks everybody up. But then when there's a bear that's as big as it starts to question, and it might cower down.
But the question is, like, when it comes to performance, like physical ability, strength, power, speed, you don't go back to zero. So
no, I think you would retain some of it.
Yeah, what, like, how much of it?
That would be so speculative. So I think
Let's speculate.
Like, let's say a guy takes one cycle of testosterone at like a traditional amount that guys use, like 500 milligrams is a pretty common like bodybuilder starting level cycle.
Is that per week?
Yeah, 500 milligrams per week.
Okay.
So that's like, 3 to 3.5 times what a traditional TRT dose would be. That would gain you a significant amount of lean mass and strength, and you would probably sustain that for, again, as the hormones work its way out of your system, even as they're residually leaving, you still have that bleed of hormone that's sustaining even during your training, subjecting yourself to, even if you had poor sleep, heavy weight cutting. So, yeah, I think that, within the span of competing within a year, like, you're going to retain, it would take, depending on how fast the compound would work its way to your system, depends on the ester chosen. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with your testosterone is probably a testosterone cypionate, for example. So that, like, determines how long it will take to metabolize out of your body. So that one has close to a 10-day half-life. So that would take 50 days, essentially, to clear out of your system. So for him, if you cleared out something that took 50 days to get out, like, you would still have residual benefit for months thereafter, for sure.
So when you're fighting guys like Jones, he's so tall, he's so rangy, and he just understood fighting. The guy just understands fighting. And it makes him hard to deal with. And then, Joe, when you get in a clinch with this dude, he's so tall that it's almost like you're holding him up if you're the shorter fighter. He's like draping over the top of you. And that is what fatigues you. Because when I'm clinching, I fought there a ton. Like, just in the clinch, punch, punch, punch. I'm trying to break your posture. He doesn't do that. He pushes you against the octagon, and then he leans. I'm going to tell you one thing. And I'll tell you this right now. When I was in that press fight with John Jones, I was still undefeated at the time. And we were at the MGM Grand, and he headbutted me, like put his head on me. So I push him. He's an alpha male too. So the fucker attacks me.
Right.
Right? So we get to fighting.
Oh, boy.
So we get to fighting, right? And we're fighting, and Joe, the security guard from the UFC, falls under me. But now I'm on my back as we go flying off of the stage.